It seems like sales and happiness might be on opposite ends of the spectrum. How are they the same?
First, you got to sell yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, if you don't believe that you are part of the solution, you're not going to be very happy. You're going to be pretty miserable. Secondly, your prospects, your customers, those people you're talking to, your partners, they can feel if you're happy or not. It's the know, like, trust. They might know you, but they're not going to like you if you're a crabby person all the time. Sometimes they might forgive it, but especially initially, you got to make the time. Be happy.
Welcome, badass entrepreneurs. It's time to hear the world's movers, shakers, and difference makers spill their secrets for unlimited success. So strap in, for Badass Entrepreneurs Only begins now. Welcome, badass entrepreneurs, to yet another edition of For Badass Entrepreneurs Only. I am pleased and thrilled to have Phil Gerbyshak on the show today. Let's dive in. Phil Gerbyshak is on a mission to fight worker burnout and to champion greater happiness for entrepreneurs. Love it. Using his expertise in sales and leadership, he guides badass entrepreneurs towards achieving a work-life balance that is fulfilling. So he wants them and all of us to feel more resilient, motivated, and to create great things in the world. Now, he uses his passion for storytelling and connection to transform people's challenges into opportunities for profound growth in both personal and professional landscapes. Holy crap, do we ever have a lot to dive into? So let's do it now. Phil Gerbyshak, welcome to For Badass Entrepreneurs Only.
Hey, thanks so much, Coach Dan. It's great to be with you, man, and great to be with the audience.
I'm really pleased that you're here. We're going to just dive in. Here's the thing. A lot of entrepreneurs look at worker burnout as a badge of honor, right? I mean, like I even had a client recently tell me that exhaustion is the KPI of hard work. And I'm thinking this can't be right? So fill me in, Phil. Why is burnout such a plague among entrepreneurs now?
Well, first, your point about it being a badge of honor, I think is true, right? The hustle culture, if you will, is absolutely pervasive. And why is it so important now? It's because there's so many voices saying, work harder, work harder, work harder, not smarter, not more effective, not more efficient, but work harder, work harder, work harder. And we can never, what is harder? How do we measure that? I can't measure harder. I can't measure softer either. So instead, I want to work better, more efficiently, more effectively.
When you hear people talk about, it takes a lot of hard work to be successful. And of course it does. That this exhaustion is the thing that lets us know that we're working hard. What's your pushback on that?
Well, there's lots of things that let us know that I work hard. Full bank account. That's pretty nice, right? I like that. Way better than I like exhaustion. I certainly like a balanced family life. I like to be, with my significant other, with my kids. I like to measure that time, and I like to measure the time that I have for myself. Do I feel fulfilled? Do I feel like I'm making a difference? Those are all things that I can see, feel, and touch much more than I can feel, see, and touch burnout as a positive metric. Can I be burnt out? Sure I can. I have burned out in that, and it sucks. It actually is one of the ways that I know that I'm doing it wrong, because it means that I'm stuck. It means that I can't move forward. It means I'm stuck in my bedroom. Oh my gosh, Coach Dan, I need help. But I'm not going to call you. I'm not going to ask for help because I should be good enough to get out of this myself. And the problem is we're not. We're stuck. If we could get out of this ourselves, well, be a totally different ballgame. That's not burnout. If you can get out of it yourself, you're probably not in burnout. You might need a coach or you might need a therapist. Neither one is bad.
Okay. And so let's talk about this, because a struggle that entrepreneurs have a lot is asking for help. Like you just said, I should be able to figure this out. And the thing about badass entrepreneurs is we're so good at figuring things out. It's really hard when we can't.
Yeah. It's super hard when we can't. I totally agree. When we can't, though, we need to take a deep breath. Can I coach myself out of this? One of my friends said, Phil, what would you do if you were your coach?
Yeah.
Well, sometimes I do have the answer, Dan, and sometimes I don't. If I do, well, great. I can coach myself out of it. But
Yeah.
sometimes I don't. I'm going to raise both hands and I got to say, I need help. Maybe it's, like I said, from a coach, or maybe, in fact, it is from a therapist. That's
Yeah.
okay. Or maybe it's even a medical doctor. Maybe it's something, maybe it is chronic. Chronic fatigue syndrome is legit.
Mm,
Maybe you need to talk to a doctor. So don't think, oh geez, I'm burnt out, I'm just tired, I can just, I'll make it up on the weekend. You
yeah.
can't catch sleep up. That's not possible. Study
Mm,
after study after study shows you cannot make up sleep. Can you get an extra hour on the weekend? Yep, no problem. If you rip yourself off out of an hour 1 or 2 nights, yeah, you get an hour or two extra on the weekend. But if you get 2 hours during the week and then think, well, I'll just sleep 8, 10, 12 hours on the weekend, that doesn't work. It's not going to help you. You
what
cannot catch up.
happens? What
Well,
happens then?
nothing good happens. First, you get burned out, right? You get those 2 hours of sleep and you're tired and more tired and more tired. And then
Yeah.
you think that those 12 hours are going to help you. And really, you just oversleep. And
Mm,
now your body is so out of whack, it doesn't know if it's supposed to be awake or asleep. Your rhythms are all off. And now you're worse than burnt out. Now you're confused. And
yeah.
I've done that. Again, guilty as charged. I've done that.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. It doesn't feel good. The last time that I did that, Dan, was a few years ago. I was so burnt out. I couldn't write. I couldn't hardly talk to anybody. I couldn't present. The only money that I made was clients that were already on my books. Of course, none actually renewed. None
Yeah.
were that happy with me. And what happened? Well, I needed bedtime. So I stayed in bed for a couple of weeks. It was
Wow.
horrible. Thought I
Yeah.
could catch it up. Oh no, no, no. I had to go to the doctor. Chronic fatigue, get some medicine. I had to
Mm.
get my blood sugars were all off. Took me some time and I'm still recovering from that. I'm not 100% yet, but I'm getting there and I'm working on it.
Wow. So, and this is the extreme, right? This is where you're not taking care of yourself and you only recognize there's a problem when you've actually slipped off of the cliff and you're headed towards the ground, right? And the thing is that a lot of people regard happiness as that thing that you get once you get the ball into the end zone, right? Once you cross home plate, once you make the money, right? But I get that you think that happiness should be a now thing instead of a later thing. Why?
Absolutely. Happiness is now, because now you have to feel the happiness and the outcome comes later. So feel happy now. One of the best ways to do that, Dan, is through gratitude. What are 3 things right now that you're grateful for, no matter how much it sucks? Could be
Mm,
something small, like could be this cup of coffee. I am grateful that I have a porcelain cup and I have coffee in it. That's 2 things right there. Could be something else, right? It could be I'm grateful I have glasses so that I can see, because without my glasses, I can't see. It could be I'm grateful for my headphones, right? So that I can drown out the sound that's around me and so that you can hear me well. Things like that. So gratitude helps with that. And why now? Why now? Because it gets me out of the stinking thinking. If I'm
mm.
thinking about good stuff, bad stuff might happen, but not because of me. Bad stuff might happen because bad stuff happens. That's okay. But embrace the now, because now is all we've got.
Love this because so much of what entrepreneurs think success is are the KPIs, the stuff, SEO, marketing, all, critical. And yet the human machine is operating all of these things, right? And so if the human machine isn't at peak efficiency, then nothing else can be. Like, I love the story. Your clients didn't renew, not because you don't know what you're doing, but because you're exhausted.
That's right.
And so you have this thing called a happiness practice. You mentioned just a moment ago about gratitude. What else is part of the happiness practice?
Yeah. Well, first, let me quickly explain. It's a practice, which means you're never going to be perfect. So practice, practice all
Okay,
the time, right? So
right.
gratitude being a big one. Another one is I have a practice of walking my dogs. I walk my dogs 3 to 5 times a day. And with them, I'm fully present. Either I'm fully present because I'm walking them either without music, or I'm fully present because I have my songs on, my favorite music on, and I'm able to listen to that music. Either way, I'm fully present either with the dogs or I'm fully present with the music. Either way works for me. So that's a practice. Walk the dogs, listen to music. I also write. You might have noticed, if anybody's watching on video, you'll notice I was looking through my notebook because I had something that I wrote down that was relevant to the conversation. So I journal. I'm always writing things down, okay, so how is this relevant to anything that I'm working on right now? And I write it down. Now, sometimes I've got a WTF journal. Like, what the frick is going on? In which case, the good news is, guess what? I can just rip out that page, throw it away, and not worry about it. Because frankly, those WTF times, well, they happen. So my practice is, when I can throw it away, guess what? I feel better because they're gone. At least mentally, for a little while, they're gone out of my current view, and that's super helpful as well. So those are some things that I use for my happiness practices. A lot of people have other ones. That's actually the title of my podcast, because I'm trying to find the happiness practices that people have so that I can steal them, so that I can use them for me, right? I had this morning, my guest he said, organization is happiness. Not having to look for my keys and my wallet and my phone. For him, that's happiness. And I'm like, wow, that's beautiful. Of course it is. That is happiness. So can I do that? Yes, I can. So now guess what? Organization is a happiness practice for me now too.
Okay. So I got to push back a little bit on this, because I hear my listener right now saying, Phil, I don't have time for this. I'm busy. There's a lot of things I'm trying to create. I can't walk my dog 3 times a day and journal. And I mean, that's my whole day. What do you say to that?
Pick one. Get started. Pick one. You don't have to do them all, right? Those are my practices. I have time to go to the bathroom. I have time to scroll on my phone. I have time to make coffee, and then it has to brew. My dogs have to be walked all the time. And as far as writing gratitude down, really? You don't have time to write 3 sentences down of what you're grateful for? I think you do. So pick one. The WTF thing. If things suck, stop letting them suck. Change, right? Change them and go do something else. But pick one.
Okay, but how is writing down 3 things I'm grateful for? What does that do, Phil?
Well, it changed our brain. It wires our brain to look for the good. It wires our brain to look for something that's a little bit happier. And not to mention, if I'm thinking about what am I grateful for right now, I'm not thinking about what sucks right now. What is overwhelming right now? I'm not thinking about all the million things I have to do right now. I'm rewiring my brain. It's this neuroplasticity. I can rewire the stuff in my brain so that they go in a happy way instead of they go in a crappy way. So I get to pick.
So what you're saying is that essentially where your focus goes, your mind goes. Is that
right.
fair?
Yeah, okay. That's right.
So, every day as entrepreneurs, we have to solve problems. And that means that we have to spin up a lot of creativity and keep that creative pipeline open. And I think what I hear you saying is, if you're focused on gratitude, positive things, doing things that make you feel good, that creative pipeline is going to open wider. Is that true?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The more open your heart is, the more open your mind is, the more open even your breathing is.
Yeah.
The more open your innovation is, the more open your creativity is, and you're more open to solving problems because you're not as focused on them. Often, the reason that we're able to solve the problems we are, yes, we're smart. I want to be clear. Table stakes. Got to be fairly smart, right? Got to be someone who can solve problems. I mean, for instance, I'm not going to solve a physics problem. That's not my gifting. Okay. Yeah. But I can solve a business problem. And a lot of times I solve that problem by not thinking about it, by thinking about the things I'm grateful for. And then I come back and, oh yeah, I can now apply something that I thought about when I wasn't thinking about it to something that I need to focus on.
That's so powerful. I have things will sort of back up in my mind, right? And I'll get super frustrated. And I have a practice of going for a walk when I'm frustrated. Like about the time I start kicking the waste can is like, that's the indication it's time to take a walk. And you're right. Every time I take a walk, the solution comes to me. Like it's getting away from the thing not focusing on the thing where I get my solution. It's like, why is that?
Well, a lot of it is because the subconscious, when it's focused too much on the thing, only sees things that are in the near term, in the near vision, right? It's almost like we have a microscope and we're looking at it really closely.
Yeah.
What we really need to be doing is widening the aperture and seeing all the possibilities and all the things, nothing that's near us. Because if it was right near us, Dan, you'd have found out the answer already.
Yeah.
It's not. It's nowhere near you. So we have to let it go, release, and then wander about so that our brain can make new connections and things that previously there were not.
It's hard though, Phil, right? Because I'm used to focusing on a problem and to keep working at it. And in working at it, I create the solution. So how do I know when it's time to step away from it? You know, because like on one side of the spectrum is at first you don't succeed, try again, right? And then the far end of the spectrum is surrender and the solution will come to you. How do I know which one to do?
Well, if you haven't found the answer and you've tried to brute force, perhaps try a feather, try the other way. And again, that's why it's called a practice, Dan.
Yeah.
I can't tell you that it's going to work every time. I can tell you that it's one more arrow in your quiver, one more thing that you can do. Maybe it is gratitude. Maybe it's a WTF list. Maybe it's a breathing, right? The Navy SEALs do a box breathing, right? They do 4, 4, 4, 4, 4 breaths, right? Okay, cool. If that's the practice that works for you, do it. How do you know? Well, you know, because the stuff you've been doing isn't working. So why not try something else? Again, it's called a practice for a reason. It's not a perfect.
Yeah.
It's a practice. Give it a try and see. And your body will know because you're going to be tense. Maybe you look at your Apple Watch and you say, holy crap, my heart rate is twice what it normally is, 3 times what it normally is. Maybe I need that break. And I didn't even realize it because I'm too right up close, too into it. So lots of reasons, lots of ways that you might know. I can't give you 100% sure why you might know, but I can tell you that whatever isn't working for a reason. So try something else.
Okay. So someone's listening right now, they're super interested and they're asking themselves the question, how do I begin a happiness practice? What do I start with? What's the answer to that?
Well, I would start with gratitude because it's the most simplest of all of them. I would start with 3 things that you can be grateful for and start like this. Right now or today, I am grateful for simple stuff. I'm grateful for my glasses. I'm grateful for my Apple Watch, and I'm grateful I have a roof over my head. And you might say, well, that's silly. But now tomorrow, you have to come up with 3 new things, 3 things you didn't write yesterday. Tomorrow, I am grateful for my headset. I am grateful for my coffee cup, and I'm grateful for hot coffee. The next day, 3 more things. Now, maybe day 5 is a setback day. It's a crappy day. I could write down my WTFs, or I could look through my notebook and say, wow, Monday, I was really, really grateful for that hot cup of coffee. And you know what? I've still got a hot cup of coffee today. And you know what? I'm still grateful for that hot cup of coffee or whatever it is. Or, I remember when I had that hot cup of coffee. That was the best coffee I ever had. I went to the Coffee Emporium here in Cincinnati, Ohio, and oh my gosh, it was great. So I can relive that feeling, relive that wonder. That's another reason why I start with gratitude, is because you can look back at it and you can feel those good feelings all over again so that you don't feel so stressed out. So you don't feel so overwhelmed. So you don't feel burnt out. Doesn't mean you're not burnt out, but you can feel a little better. So as an entrepreneur, you can push maybe a little bit harder because you got to get something done. You're on deadline. But then remember, part of the practice, get some rest. Maybe it's taking a nap. That's one of my favorite practices, Dan, that I would actually, the second one I would recommend folks do, schedule 15-minute naps. 15, not an hour, 15 minutes. Set your timer because it'll be one cycle. Now, the first day, you won't sleep. Second day, you might not sleep. Third day, fourth day, you'll start sleeping. You'll get used to that. Set the alarm even before you lay down. 15 minutes. Get a nice black eye mask and black it out and then just lay down for 15 minutes. Even if you don't sleep, the rest will help your brain recover. You'll make new connections and you'll solve more problems.
So one thing I love about this is that it's strategic. I mean, it isn't just, kumbaya, woo, woo, whoa, this will, enrich your soul, which it will, but it's going to increase your productivity. And there's one thing that badass entrepreneurs love, it's increasing our productivity, right? It's opening up those creative pipelines. And so, and you make it really easy, right? So this isn't something that we have to turn into another job. It's something that we can begin very simply. I mean, one of my practices is in the morning, I take a walk. It's a 10-minute walk. We live up in the mountains. So there's a nice big hill that I climb every day, right? And it's really something that as much as I don't feel like doing it every day, after I do it, I feel a ton better. And what happens is my brain starts to focus on the good feeling I get afterwards. And I think this is what you're talking about with the happiness practice, is that it is imbuing people with the payoff that they get by doing it. Is that fair?
Well, part of it is the payoff and that comes at the end, and part of it is the payoff that you get from doing it, and part of it is also, Dan, the payoff you get from remembering you did it. So it's a triple payoff. It's a triple bottom line, really cool. You get it from doing it, you get it from after you do it, and you get it from thinking about doing it later on.
So Phil, do you have like an article or an ebook or a video about specifically creating a happiness practice I could share with people?
Yeah, I would actually direct them to my blog. If they go to happyaf.substack.com, lots of them there. You can search. And the happiness practices, Dan, guess what, buddy? Your episode is one of the happiness practices. So it is awesome. Lots of them there. And I'm working on a book and other things to help people, because I find, especially for us entrepreneurs, this is really tough, really tough stuff. So so I recommend they go there and just search for happiness practices. You'll find some.
Well, here's what I'm going to do just for you, Phil. I'm going to set up a text code that by the time this episode drops, people can just get to it really easily. So here's what you do. Text the word happy, HAPPY, to this number, 213-409-8366. 213-409-8366, and text the word happy, HAPPY. It's going to be a link to what Phil just talked about, his blog, or anything else that we decide to put in that. So Phil, if you come up with anything new, just let me know and I will update that little piece of automation. What you're talking about is so important in terms of maintaining not just a work-life balance, but a work good feeling balance about what we're doing. Most entrepreneurs that I know have a very big picture focus on what they can bring to the world. And you just can't bring it if you're half dead. Let's talk about sales, because one of the things that you do is you teach sales and you focus on sales, and I mean, you have a sales podcast. So, it seems like sales and happiness might be on opposite ends of the spectrum. How are they the same?
Well, first you got to sell yourself. That's very much the same as it is happy, right? Because if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't believe that you are part of the solution, well, you're not going to be very happy. You're going to be pretty miserable. And secondly, your prospects, your customers, those people you're talking to, your partners, they can feel if you're happy or not. It's the know, like, trust. Well, guess what? They might know you, but they're not going to like you if you're a crabby person all the time. Sometimes they might forgive it, but especially initially, you got to make the time. Be happy. Be happy. Like, again, look at your little list of things that you're grateful for. Just like you're looking at a list of features and benefits you're going to talk to your prospect about. Well, look at your gratitude list before you get on the call. Prep for that. Think about one thing. I am grateful for my awesome family. And that is why I do what I do. So above my head here is a picture of my family. It's my wife, my daughter, and my little munchkin, Asher. Okay? So I think about them, and they are always in my view. They're so important. So for me, I'm grateful for them. And right before I get in a sales call, it's going to be, I'm doing this because I'm grateful for them. And I'm going to focus on them. And I know that the other person has somebody that's important as well. And I'm going to use that to connect. So they're going to see my picture and they're going to be like, who's that? And then I'm hoping that they'll have a similar picture, or I'll say, well, do you have special people in your life as well? And now we can kind of connect. So sales, happiness, gratitude, they all intersect in humanity. And that's the thing that's missing. I think we have 3 H's, Dan, that I want to quickly tell you. And that's, we need to be human, first of all. Really simple. We have to be human. That's picture. Then we have to be helpful. Well, as human beings, we want to help other people. We're here to serve. We're servant leaders. And lastly, and not least, we have to be humble. We have to be humble. Doesn't mean that we don't know that we're really good, but it means that we know that there are some things we don't know or that we're not the answer to. And when that's true, well, I can honestly say, great question, Dan. I'm not sure.
So one of the things I share a lot is that people don't buy things, people buy experiences. So if you're trying to sell with features and benefits, you're selling a thing. If you're approaching a sales meeting with joy, with enthusiasm, with excitement, with a desire to help the other person, that is sales. That's real sales, because now the person is having an experience that they want more of. So really beautifully said. Phil, how do people get in touch with you?
Well, you can always email me, real easy, phil@philgerbyshak.com. You can find me at LinkedIn. If you can spell Gerbyshak, you'll find me, GERBYSHAK. Or you can go to happyaf.substack.com, sign up for my newsletter. And like Dan said, you can always text happy to 213-409-8366.
Perfect. Well, Phil, I sincerely appreciate you being on the show, sharing your truths with our badass entrepreneur audience. You have a podcast. Would you share that too, please?
Sure. It's the Sales Leadership Show, soon to be moving over to the Happiness Practices. But if you go to salesleadershipshow.com, it'll forward you right to the iTunes, iTunes store, so you can sign up and listen to the podcast right away.
Fantastic. Being on your show was so much fun. And the reason it was fun is because you made it such a great experience. And this is something I share with my clients a lot. It's what we just talked about. What's the experience that you're giving someone? Entrepreneurs tend to get very wrapped up in their product or service, this thing that they want to deliver. And that's great. But behind that delivery is a person. And everything that you've shared, Phil, is talking about making a greater version of that person. I sincerely appreciate it. Last words, Phil, what do you got?
The last words I say are just get started. Get started on your happiness practices. Pick one of the things we talked about today, whether it's gratitude, whether it's taking a nap, or whether it's a WTF list. Doesn't matter. Pick something and get doing it. Because the sooner you start doing it, the happier you're going to be. And the happier you are, the more sales you're going to make.
I love it. Phil Gerbyshak, thank you for being on for Badass Entrepreneurs Only. And thank you for bringing your dog on the show too. Clearly, that is a very happy dog. He's having a great time. Those are pleasurable barks.
Indeed.
Really appreciate it, Phil. We'll call it to be continued.
Awesome. Thanks, Dan.
Hey, one last thing. If you're feeling stuck in business life, wherever, download my book, Jumping the Gap, Kill Your Story and Take Action. In this book, you'll see how the stories that you tell yourself are stopping yourself from living your greatest life. Just text the word GAP, G-A-P, to this number, 213-409-8366. 213-409-8366, and text the word GAP. It's a short read, it's fun, it's easy, and if you hate reading like I do, you can grab the audiobook. It's at that same link. Just text the word GAP, G-A-P, to 213-409-8366. You'll love it. All right, that's it. Go out there and be badass today.